You already know that a calorie deficit is how fat loss works. You've probably tried it. Maybe you're doing it right now, but here's the thing nobody talks about. The deficit is only half the equation. The other half is whether your body is in a state that actually allows it to work. And for most men over 35, it isn't. Not because of what they're eating, but because of how their daily energy pattern is fighting against everything they're trying to do. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that means and why fixing it is what makes your calorie deficit finally start working the way it's supposed to. Here's what I'm covering in this video. First, I'll show you what your daily energy pattern actually looks like at the hormonal level and the specific way it makes calorie deficit harder to sustain than it needs to be. Second, I'll show you how blood sugar instability is creating near-constant hunger and cravings that push you over your calorie target, even on days when you're trying your hardest. Third, I'll show you what happens to testosterone and thyroid function after 35 that quietly reduces the amount your body burns at rest, making your effective deficit smaller than you think it is. And fourth, the one daily habit that resets all three of these systems at once. Not a supplement, not a diet change. Something most men have never thought to connect to fat loss at all. Let's start at the beginning. Before we get into the energy pattern, I want to be clear about something because this matters. Fat loss requires a calorie deficit. Full stop. That is not a myth. That is not old science. That is the foundation. And nothing in this video changes that. What this video is about is the part that comes after you accept that truth. Because most men who are struggling aren't failing because they don't know about calorie deficit. They're failing because something in their daily pattern is making that deficit almost impossible to sustain. Constant hunger, energy crashes, cravings that hit hard in the afternoon and evening, feeling too tired to stay consistent. Those aren't character flaws, they're biological signals, and they have very specific causes. That's what we're going to cover. Your body runs on an internal clock, a circadian rhythm, that controls when each hormone peaks and when it drops. When that clock is running correctly, three things happen that directly support fat loss. Cortisol peaks sharply in the morning, giving you genuine natural energy, so you're not chasing stimulants all day. Insulin sensitivity is highest in the morning and early afternoon, meaning your body processes food more efficiently and stores less of it as fat. And your appetite hormones, ghrelin and leptin, stay balanced, which means your hunger is predictable and manageable throughout the day. When those three things are working, maintaining a calorie deficit is genuinely manageable. You're not fighting biology to stay under your target. But when the rhythm is disrupted, everything changes. Late nights keep cortisol elevated when it should be falling, which means it's low and flat the next morning when you actually need it. So you wake up exhausted and reach for caffeine to compensate. That caffeine on a flat cortisol curve triggers a sharper afternoon crash, which triggers hunger and cravings right when your willpower is already depleted. Erratic meal times keep insulin unpredictable, which keeps fat storage signals active for longer windows than they need to be. And disrupted sleep drives ghrelin up and leptin down, which means you wake up genuinely hungrier than you should be, and you feel full later than you should. The result is a man who is trying to maintain a calorie deficit while his biology is constantly pushing him to eat more, move less, and store fat. He's not weak, his rhythm is broken. And the most direct way that broken rhythm shows up is in your blood sugar. Let me walk you through a day that most men over 35 know very well. You wake up not particularly hungry, maybe because you ate late the night before. So you skip breakfast or have something small, coffee, maybe a piece of toast. By mid-morning, your blood sugar starts dropping. Your body triggers a cortisol response to compensate, which temporarily stabilizes your energy but increases your appetite. You eat lunch, probably something convenient because you're busy. Something processed, high in refined carbs. Blood sugar spikes, insulin floods in. You feel okay for an hour, then comes the 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. crash. Blood sugar drops sharply, energy disappears, focus goes. You reach for something, another coffee, a biscuit, something sweet, just to get through the afternoon. By evening, you're running on empty. So you eat the biggest meal of the day because your body has been underfueled all day and now it wants everything at once. And that evening meal pushes you over your calorie target, Not because you have no discipline, because your blood sugar pattern spent the entire day building toward that moment. Here's the critical point. Every spike and crash in that cycle drives hunger signals that work directly against your calorie target. Studies consistently show that blood sugar instability increases total daily calorie intake. Not because people are greedy, but because the hunger signals become genuinely difficult to override when blood sugar is crashing. And here's what makes this worse after 35. Insulin sensitivity naturally declines with age. Your cells become slightly less responsive to insulin's signal, so your body has to produce more of it to manage the same amount of food. More insulin means blood sugar swings become sharper and more extreme. The highs get higher, the crashes get lower, and the hunger that follows those crashes gets harder to manage. So the older you get, the more your blood sugar pattern can quietly push your calorie intake above your target, even on days when you're actively trying to control it. This is not a moral failure, it's physiology. But there's a third layer underneath all of this. Something that doesn't just make the deficit harder to maintain, but actually makes it smaller than you think it is. Most men think about calorie deficit as a simple equation. Calories in minus calories out. Stay under the number, lose fat. And that's correct. But there's a problem. The calories outside of that equation is not fixed. It changes. And after 35, it tends to change in one direction, downward. Two hormonal shifts are primarily responsible for this. The first is testosterone decline. After 30, testosterone drops by roughly 1% per year. By 40, many men have testosterone levels 10 to 15% below their peak. Testosterone plays a direct role in muscle maintenance. And muscle is metabolically expensive. It burns calories at rest just to sustain itself. As testosterone declines, maintaining muscle mass becomes harder. If you're not actively training against that decline, you gradually lose muscle, and with it, your resting metabolic rate drops. What that means practically, the calorie target that produced a deficit at 30 may no longer produce the same deficit at 40, because your body is burning fewer calories at rest than it used to. The second shift is thyroid function. Your thyroid controls the speed of your metabolism, how efficiently your body converts food into energy throughout the day. As you age, thyroid output can slow subtly, even subclinical changes, the kind that don't flag on a standard blood test, can reduce your basal metabolic rate by 5 to 10%. Again, that doesn't sound dramatic, but it means your body is burning fewer calories at rest than your calorie app assumes. So you're calculating your deficit based on numbers that may be slightly out of date for your actual biology. And here's the connection that ties all three parts together. The disrupted energy pattern, poor sleep, high background cortisol, directly suppresses both testosterone production and thyroid hormone conversion. Which means the same broken rhythm that drives your hunger up is also quietly reducing how much your body burns. It's working against you from both sides of the equation at the same time. More hunger pushing calories in up. Lower metabolic rate pushing calories out down. And the gap between them, your deficit, shrinks. So now you have the full picture of the problem. Your energy pattern is making your deficit harder to sustain. Your blood sugar is driving you to eat more than you intend. And your hormones are quietly reducing how much you burn. All three, driven by the same root cause. Which means there's one place you can intervene that starts fixing all three at once. Everything we've covered comes back to one thing: the rhythm. When the daily rhythm is broken, hunger increases, burns decrease, and the deficit becomes almost impossible to sustain consistently. When the rhythm is restored, those same biological systems start working with you instead of against you. And the most powerful single behavior for restoring that rhythm is one most men have never thought to connect to fat loss. Morning light exposure. Within the first 30 to 60 minutes of waking, getting your eyes exposed to natural outdoor light, even on an overcast day, triggers a cascade that sets the hormonal rhythm for the entire day. It anchors the cortisol morning peak, sharp and clean, where it belongs. So it doesn't bleed into the afternoon and evening where it causes crashes and hunger. It suppresses residual melatonin, so your body fully commits to wakefulness, which improves insulin sensitivity for the hours that follow. It signals the start of the testosterone production cycle on time. And because it sets the morning rhythm correctly, it improves sleep quality that night. which means the cycle starts in a better state the following morning. One habit, upstream of everything else. But morning light is the anchor, not the whole fix. Here's the full protocol that builds on it. 4 changes, each one targeting a specific part of the problem we've covered. Number 1, anchor your morning. This addresses the broken energy rhythm. Get outside within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, 10 minutes minimum. No sunglasses. Your eyes need direct light exposure to trigger the hormonal signal. Delay your first coffee by 60 to 90 minutes after waking. Your cortisol is naturally rising on waking. Caffeine on top of that peak blunts the natural curve and causes a sharper afternoon crash, which drives the hunger and cravings that push you over your calorie target. Pair the morning light with a short walk, even 10 to 15 minutes. This begins depleting overnight blood sugar and signals your body that movement is safe, which gently starts improving insulin sensitivity from the first hour of the day. Number 2, stabilize blood sugar from your first meal. This addresses the calorie overshoot problem. Eat within the first 2 hours of waking, not a large meal. A protein-anchored meal. Eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, meat. Protein at the first meal has been shown to reduce total daily calorie intake by reducing hunger throughout the day. Front-load your carbohydrates earlier in the day when insulin sensitivity is highest. By evening, shift toward protein and fats. This reduces the evening blood sugar spike that drives overeating, which is where most men exceed their calorie target without realizing it. Remove liquid sugar entirely. Fruit juice, sugary coffee drinks, energy drinks. These spike blood sugar faster and harder than almost anything else, triggering the crash and crave cycle that makes calorie control genuinely difficult. Opt for water, black coffee, and green tea. Number 3, protect your metabolic rate through sleep. This addresses the shrinking deficit problem. Sleep and wake at consistent times every day, including weekends. Irregular sleep timing suppresses testosterone output by disrupting the production window that occurs during deep sleep stages. Protecting that window protects your resting metabolic rate. Keep your bedroom below 18 degrees Celsius. Core body temperature must drop to reach deep sleep. A room that's too warm physically prevents the deep sleep stages where both growth hormone and testosterone are produced. Eliminate screens for the final 60 minutes before sleep. Blue light suppresses melatonin and delays sleep onset by up to 90 minutes even when you feel tired, cutting into the recovery window your metabolism depends on. Number 4, break the all-day sitting pattern. This directly supports the calories outside of your deficit. Set a daily movement minimum of 7,000 steps. Non-exercise daily movement, NEAT, can account for up to 30% of your total daily calorie burn. It drops sharply when you sit for extended periods, and it drops further when you're in a calorie deficit as your body conserves energy. Maintaining step count actively protects the output side of your deficit. Walk for 5 to 10 minutes after each meal. Post-meal movement significantly blunts the insulin spike from that meal, which reduces fat storage signals and keeps blood sugar more stable going into the next few hours. Build one deliberate decompression window into your day. 15 to 20 minutes of low-stimulation activity, a walk without your phone, quiet time, slow breathing. This is a cortisol management tool. Lower background cortisol means less appetite stimulation, less fat storage signaling, and better testosterone production. It directly supports the deficit from multiple angles. So let's go back to where we started. You already know a calorie deficit is how fat loss works. But you've been trying to maintain that deficit while your energy pattern has been working against you, driving hunger up, pushing cravings into the evening, quietly reducing how much your body burns at rest. That's not a discipline problem. That's a biological environment that was set up against you, often without you realizing it. The deficit is still the mechanism. Nothing changes that. But when the rhythm is restored, when cortisol peaks where it should, when blood sugar stays stable, when sleep is consistent and deep, sustaining that deficit stops feeling like a daily battle. It starts feeling manageable, and that's when results actually start moving. If this video helped you understand things a bit clearer, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. What I focus on here is simple, realistic approaches that middle-aged men can actually stick to, because that's what gets real results. If that's something you're working on, you can stick around for more.